Happy October and welcome back to TMNtv News. I'm Kerrigan Hutton, and today we have a recap of homecoming events and several other local news stories. But first, let's take a look at some national news. Until late Saturday night, the government was set to shut down yesterday as soon as the clock struck midnight. Instead, Congress passed a short-term spending bill to fund the government until November 17th, which was signed by President Biden. 335 representatives voted in favor of the bill, while 91 voted against it. In the Senate, 88 voted yes and 9 voted no. Here is more on the story and what it means for the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, from Fox News, D.C.
Well, it was down to the wire last night, but they did it. Congress coming together on the 11th hour for a deal last night to pass a short-term spending bill.
The agreement avoids a shutdown for now, but could put Kevin McCarthy's House speakership in jeopardy. As Fox's Chad Pergram reports, the deal was quite the close call.
A government shutdown averted. A coalition of Democrats and Republicans in both the House and Senate voting to avoid a shutdown. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy leaned on Democrats to get this done.
I'm sure every bet you had was government was going to shut down. I don't know how many times you're going to count us out. But if there's one thing you should start understanding, not just that I'll never give up, but I'm a type of conservative that wants to get things done.
After the House passed the bill, the pressure turned to the Senate.
Democrats and Republicans have come to an agreement, and the government will remain open. Bipartisanship, which has been the trademark of the Senate, has prevailed, and the American people can breathe a sigh of relief.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy worked with Democrats. They worked with Democrats to get this bill passed. People here who follow the Congress thought that that was always going to be the avenue that they were going to go along. Kevin McCarthy could never get all Republicans to kind of caramelize around a GOP-only bill. And the route to funding the government, to preventing a shutdown, was working with Democrats. Well, Matt Gaetz, the Republican from Florida, has consistently said that he might drop this sword of Damocles on the House Speaker if he was to work with Democrats here. And he would call for a motion to vacate the chair. This would be to demand a new Speaker election in the middle of the Congress. We haven't had one of those since 1910.
We are at this point because Kevin McCarthy made multiple contradictory promises about the budget top line to different groups of people. He made one promise to House conservatives in January to secure the position. He made another promise to President Biden. He made a third promise altogether to House appropriators. So Kevin's deal was, if he made multiple contradictory promises and delayed as long as possible, he could push people up against shutdown politics in order to avoid the programmatic level review that House conservatives have called for.
It's unclear if Gaetz will attempt his gambit in the coming days, but no government shutdown at least for 6 weeks. On Capitol Hill, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
All right, so this morning we want to give you a closer look at what was in and was not in this legislation. Lawmakers did not include more financial help for Ukraine right now, but they did increase federal disaster assistance by $16 billion, as President Biden had requested.
And this morning, President Biden is sharing his thoughts on the passage of the bipartisan bill. In a statement, he says in part, quote, "The bill is good news for the American people." The president goes on to say, "But I want to be clear, we should never have been in this position in the first place." Now, had Congress not acted by midnight, federal workers would have stopped getting paid. Air travel might have been delayed because of staffing shortages, and food benefits would have paused for some of the country's most vulnerable families.
Heavy rainfall on Friday and over the weekend caused severe flooding in New York City. The city experienced so much rainfall that the drainage system could not keep up. According to NPR, the city's infrastructure is equipped to handle 1 3/4 inches of rain per hour, but got up to 2.5 inches per hour on Friday. This left many New Yorkers without public transportation. Here is more on the situation from the Tribune News Service.
Flash floods wreaking havoc on America's largest city. More than a month of rain falling in just a few hours on Friday. State and local officials urging people to stay indoors and move to higher ground if possible.
And I want to say to all New Yorkers, this is time for heightened alertness and extreme caution.
Infrastructure was brought to a near standstill in this city of more than 8 million people. Train lines were shut down, major roads submerged.
I've been living here all my life and I never ever saw this ever.
Never saw this?
Never. I've been here 47 years of my life. Live here in Brooklyn all my life. And this is really wow.
I'm lost. I feel terrible. I don't even know where I'm going because I'm accustomed to catching a particular train. Now I come, the train is delayed.
Nearly 18 centimeters of rain fell on some areas. The National Guard has been deployed, and multiple people have been rescued from flooded cars and basements. The city's drainage network isn't built for this amount of water, and it's likely becoming the new normal.
This changing weather pattern is the result of climate change, and the sad reality is our climate is changing faster than our infrastructure can respond.
It's renewing calls for the city to have better flood prevention measures.
You have to prepare more for the subways not to be flooded. Those are our lifelines. I also heard that 150 schools were flooded. I have a daycare center that had to close because the drainage outside of it was blocked.
States of emergency have been declared in both New York and neighboring New Jersey. As it stands, more than 23 million Americans are under flood watch, and there's more rain in the forecast. Alexandra Byers, Al Jazeera.
A new 3-year deal has been reached between writers and Hollywood studios, ending the strike that began this summer. Writers are returning to work at 148 days with the promise against AI protections, residuals from streaming, and the preservation of the writer's room. Negotiations took place between the Writers Guild of America and executives from Disney, Netflix, NBC, Universal, and Warner Bros. To reach this deal members. These members will ratify this deal sometime this month. While this is good news for the writers, the Screen Actors Guild and American Federation of Television and Radio Artists are still on strike. In recent years, the state of Kansas has seen a decline in number of students attending a public institution right after high school, which is also called the college going rate. According to the Kansas Board of Regents and the Kansas State Department of Education, 43.7% of high school graduates in 2021 were enrolled at a state university, community college, or technical college the academic year following their graduation. 6 years prior, in 2015, that percentage was 54.1%. Reasons for this decline include the COVID-19 pandemic, the increasing cost of higher education, and the stagnant wages at jobs available after graduation. As a result, institutions are seeing a decline in overall enrollment, which could lead to certain programs being phased out. Our reporter Reagan Neufeld recently spoke with Blake Flanders, the president of KBOR, about what is being done about the declining college going rate.
So, our long-term vision is to have students be able to graduate from high school with perhaps, 9 to 15 credit hours of college credit. What that does for a first-generation student whose parents maybe didn't go to college or someone who is uncertain about college is it gives them an opportunity to know that this is something that they can do and that they can be successful in college. And we think it will help our college going rates long-term.
Thank you, Reagan. We'll have more on this story in the coming weeks. And looking at the weather this week, we're starting off with the week hot. Today is the warmest day of the week with a high of 89 degrees and a low of 66. Tomorrow we have some chances of rain in the afternoon and evenings. Things will cool off towards the end of the week, with Friday being the coolest day of the week with a high of 61 and a low of 34. As always, to stay up to date with this forecast as it changes, visit kwch.com. And when we come back, Caden Sanders has sports.
5, 4, 3.
know you'll love what you see here on our campus in Hayes, America.
With over 200 academic programs, small classroom sizes, and a 96% success rate, we will make sure you get the tools you need to succeed.
We are proud to offer you 120 clubs and student organizations, over 300 different intramural activities, and countless other ways to get involved here on campus.
As the most affordable four-year institution in the entire state, we are excited to offer you the best value in education anywhere. Not to mention our robust scholarship programs to help minimize that stress of paying for college.
We hope you enjoyed Tiger Nation, and we can't wait for you to see yourself here.
Welcome back. I'm Caden Sanders here for your weekly sports update. The football team suffering their loss to Missouri Western a week prior. Fort Hays State looked to get a win during their homecoming week against Lincoln, and that they did en route to a 71-3 victory over the Blue Tigers. Fort Hays State saw scores from Jaden Horace twice, Shane Watts, Travis Dixon, Jaquan Tillis, Jack Dawson, Caleb Heavner, Michael Pauley on the defense, Logan Heigl, and 2 field goals from Carson Arndt, and a safety that was a blocked punt. The Tigers moved to 3-2 on the season and go on the road this week to take on Missouri Southern and Joplin, who are 3-2 in the MIAA. The women's soccer team looked to keep their home winning and tie streak lasting since October of 2021. For the Tigers, they welcome 2 top programs within the MIAA, Missouri Northwest and Missouri Western. The game versus Northwest came in the 4th minute of the match, where a goal from Grayson Cheney, the Tigers beat the Bearcats 1-0. On Sunday, the Tigers took on the Griffins, scoring first in the 16th minute from Claire Gaith. But the Griffins would not go away after a PK from Jaden Skinner and another goal as the Tigers lost their lead and trailed until the 66th minute of the match from a goal from Allison Worley. The Tigers and Griffins finished the match at 2-2, and the Fort Hays State moved to 6-1-3 on the season. The Tigers look to keep their home winning streak alive next week, taking on Newman and Central Oklahoma this Friday and Sunday. The men's soccer team was on the road this weekend to Arkansas to take on Ouachita Baptist and Harding. Fort Hays State had a 2-0 lead in Arkadelphia, but in the second half of the game, 2 goals were scored for the Tigers and could not find the back of the net, tying Ouachita Baptist. On Saturday, the Tigers won a hard-fought battle over Harding, winning 1-0. With a score from Anders Sonsto in the 75th minute of the match. Fort Hays State will continue on the road as they take on rival Northeastern State and Newman this Thursday and Saturday. The cross-country team did not compete this past week, but will be on the road as they look to compete in Emporia, as they will race in the Hornet Harrier Classic hosted by Emporia State. The women's tennis team did not have their match with Sterling this past week, but they look to compete tomorrow at home against Barton. Finally, the volleyball team was back in action this past week, taking on the 9th best team in the nation, Nebraska Kearney and Newman. In the match versus the Lopers, the Tigers lost in 3 straight sets, 25-18, 25-15, and 25-14. The Tigers did fare better against the Jets, winning 3 straight sets, 25-11, 25-13, 25-14. The Tigers moved to 7-8 on the year and look to improve at home against Missouri Western and Northwest Missouri this Friday and Saturday. That's all the time we have for this week's sports update. To tune in to Tiger Athletics, follow Tiger Media Network for all updates, and that's happening throughout Tiger Athletics. Kerrigan Hutton will be back with more campus news.
transfer to Fort Hays State University, you discover unmatched affordability, convenience, and powerfully supportive faculty and staff, all with a determination that matches yours. Complete your degree and leap forward in your life and career with Fort Hays State University Online. The best value in education anywhere.
Tiger Media Network is the student convergent media lab hub for Fort Hays State. We live broadcast all of Fort Hays' home athletic events.
Our program is a hands-on program where we give kids ample opportunity to do anything from writing stories to audio and video projects to sports productions to newscasts. The sky's the limit. We tell the students whatever they can think of or dream of, we'll find a way to try to pull it off to give them that experience.
I am a junior at Fort Hays State University and I'm a photography major. So I've done cameras, I've done tech directing, video board, a little bit of directing. I really enjoy being able to have an eye for that. It's something I've really enjoyed learning about through my 3 years here with photography. To me, photography and even just video and broadcasting kind of go hand in hand.
The future is with the kids, and the new tech gear that we have fits great into our educational model of a great learning environment for the students.
I really like the TriCaster. I like how you can make it as simple as you want, or you can go as complex as you need it to be. You know, you can pretty much do whatever you want with it.
It's a good experience. It teaches you how to work as a team, how to kind of lead things on your own.
Well, we wanted something when it came to giving our students opportunity that was going to be easy to use and applicable in a lot of different scenarios. And that's what we felt like with TriCaster and New Tech really offer. You get a really good experience and it's something you could easily get into.
When we pull off a great production or they provide a great replay angle for a referee in a crucial instant, that makes you proud.
Once you start working with the TriCaster, you can really understand exactly what's going on behind the scenes.
And now it's my favorite thing to do.
Welcome back. It was an eventful last week in terms of homecoming festivities. Starting on Thursday, Student Engagement hosted the Party at Lewis to substitute for the annual bonfire due to excessive wind. Then Saturday brought the homecoming parade where King and Queen candidates alongside Fort Hays organizations proceeded down Main Street. Later in the day, people gathered outside Lewis Stadium for a festive tailgate before the Fort Hays Tigers fought against the Lincoln Blue Tigers. The homecoming fun of last week was not just limited to on-campus students. This year, with FHSU All-In Online Homecoming, organized by Kelly Meyer of FHSU Online and Cindy Landis of Forsyth Library, the online homecoming included a combination of synchronous and asynchronous events for students to participate in. There was a photo sharing, a design contest, a digital escape room, and Zoom sessions with several alumni award winners. Now, with most of the groundwork laid, Meyer and Landis say they're looking forward to future of online homecomings. Here's what they had to say when asked why students should participate.
Because we want online students to feel, of course, like they're just as much a part of Fort Hays as, you know, our on-campus students. And taking advantage of those opportunities isn't only fun and good for your college experience, but also builds connections with other students or faculty or staff that can just really benefit everyone in the long run.
Otherwise, as an online student, that experience can feel a little siloed of like, I'm only taking these 3 or 4 courses with these 3 or 4 instructors at a time, and you maybe recognize a few names between course to course in your program, but to be able to have more of a recreational entertainment outlet to feel connected to the university can go a long way. A little bit can go a long way in feeling connected and feeling that pride point of being a Fort Hays grad eventually. And
for more on this story, it can be found at tigermedianet.com. The Board Game Club is one of the newest clubs on campus. TMN reporter Chloe Wolf has more.
The new student organization, Board Game Club, had their second meeting where I attended to learn more of what this club is about. I sat down with President Mars Dunn to discuss what this club is about.
Board Game Club is just about people just coming together to play board games, people who are new to board games or experts at board games. It's open to all.
I also got to speak to the treasurer of the new club, Sarah Keese, about how they started Board Game Club.
So her and I are both involved in other activities on campus, and we kind of realized we wanted something a little more chill, so we decided to start the Board Game Club, and it was just, like I said, a bit more chill and kind of get to know more people on campus.
Dunn and Keys both emphasize how easygoing the club is when asked why students should join Board Game Club.
I think students should join Board Game Club because it's really chill and relaxed, and it's kind of a good break from your classes, and there's really no pressure to win or pressure to be super into the games. It's just kind of a chill time.
It's a pretty casual club to join, so I think it's pretty easy. It's free. It's just about coming together, hanging out, playing some games, getting to know one another. I feel like board games are the easiest way to get to know a person.
Normal meeting time is 5 p.m. every other Wednesday in the Memorial Union, and Dunn encourages students to become a member.
We've got a Discord, so if you add me on Discord, it's Hawks0012, then I can add you to the Discord. We've got about 20 members on the Discord and then a couple who don't have Discord. If you go on TigerLink, then there's my contact information and we can hook you up however you want to join.
For Tiger Media Network, this is Chloe Wolf.
Thank you, Chloe. More on this story can be found on tigermedianet.com. Sponsored by the Fort Hays Science and Math Education Institute, Science Cafe presentations provide information on various topics such as animals, technology, natural phenomena, and more. Last Monday, the first Science Cafe of the school year discussed eclipses. Here is more from TMN reporter John Billinger.
Eclipses are a rare event, only happening years, sometimes decades apart, and in different parts of the world. This means that most people will probably only see one or two within their lifetime, but some people make it their mission to see as many as possible. Take, for example, Dean Stramel of Hays, Kansas. Stramel spoke about his travels at the monthly Science Cafe meeting on the 25th of September.
My first one was 91 in Hawaii, and that was the first, so 30 years. I've been to Hawaii, I went to China, and I've been to Carhenge in Alliance, Nebraska.
For Stramel, an eclipse is a form of nature that must be seen.
It's a science phenomenon. It's nature. It happens on its own. It's not man-made. I mean, nobody did it. Nature did it. And it's just, if you let your imagination think of all the physics and geometry that had to happen for it to work, it's just pretty exciting.
Viewing an eclipse, however, is not as carefree as it might sound. Another speaker at the meeting, Kendall Krug, highlighted the various dangers of viewing an eclipse without eye protection.
Even though the sun is partially covered, there's enough stray light that comes around the edge of the sun that it can cause damage, and it can take less than a minute looking at the sun unprotected to cause a burn on the retina.
Krug also highlighted recommended measures of eye protection.
And you'll see the eclipse glasses advertised on the internet, but it has to be ISO certified. They block 99.9% of the light that comes in. If you're using optical devices, there are special solar filters, white light solar filters, and again, they are more expensive, but you're looking through a magnifying device, and so you have to put the sunlight filter on the front of the telescope.
Despite the potential danger, Stramel is still eager to journey to these eclipses.
I love traveling, and I love nature, and like I said, if you let your mind think about what has to happen for an eclipse to happen, it's pretty amazing.
For TMN, this is John Billinger.
Thank you, John. Science Cafes are typically held once a month at the venue at Thirsties. More information can be found on the FHSU Science Cafe Facebook page. And that's all we have for news today. As always, to stay up to date with local, state, and national news, visit tigermedianet.com as well as our social media pages. I'm Kerrigan Hutton, and we'll see you next time.